And the point of any transformation is that, unfortunately, you cannot just pick up one of these elements and say, okay, let me improve there, and then I will take care of the rest. The trap of transformation is that you need to find a way how you can move forward with all of these elements more or less at the same time. So it's act of orchestration and balancing as you are transforming.
You need to have a clear agenda and a vision of where you want to go. So we provide some examples here about how you connect your big purpose with the strategic guidance that you need to have around AI transformation. Otherwise, what's going to happen, most organizations, they will spend a lot of time on AI and they will not transform themselves, which is like, might be useful from a productivity or cost-cutting perspective, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be a new business. It's not going to offer a new experience. It's going to be something as you're doing today, but with AI technology. And that's what not most organizations, they don't want.
As we talk about transformation, we need to understand what is it in need for the employees. You know, that is key. So sometimes we say AI, machine learning, we list all the technologies, and we feel like it is that will suffice. No. At the end, people need to adopt the technology. And we need to earn the heart and mind of people within our organization to make sure that it happens. Welcome, everyone, to Transformation Talk. I'm Tahirou Assane, the director of Brightline at Project Management Institute, PMI. Today, we plan a special talk for you. It's about leading AI-driven business transformation. And we're asking, are you in? As we know, C-level executives are experiencing significant pressure to transform their business to leverage the unprecedented potential of AI technologies. While there are many opportunities, we know that there are also many questions and there are also uncertainties. In this talk, we'll discuss and share recommendations and practices to help executive leaders successfully implement AI-driven transformation in their organization. We'll have 3 aims. 1, understand business disruption. 2, talk about a path to transformation success. And 3, how to initiate AI-driven transformation. For this talk, we are really privileged to welcome Lenka Pincot, who is Chief of Staff to the CEO at PMI. She has a proven track record in setting and executing strategic vision, digital transformation leadership, culture shift, and enhancing organizational agility. And we are also joined by Eddi Conforto, who I call kindly and nicely Eddi, who is the Director of Thought Leadership and Research at PMI. I was actually going to give a detailed introduction for each, but I thought maybe I should give each the floor for a short introduction. So let us start with Lenka. Lenka?
Okay, hi everyone, hello, and welcome to this transformation talk, to this webinar. I was also checking who is coming from where, and I saw some very familiar names like Stefan, Al, and many others. I don't remember all of that, but it's very encouraging because this really feels like being always part of our community. I'm very, very grateful for that. And Tahirou, you said a lot of things about me already, but just to add, digital transformation and agile transformation is one of my passions. It's also my field of work, where I was spending my time before joining PMI. And I joined PMI about a year ago in the capacity as Chief of Staff to the CEO and President of PMI. And I'm very grateful that part of my responsibilities is also oversight of our thought leadership and Brightline teams. And these are the teams, as you know very well, are the teams that are leading our research and report creation that are informing us about future development of the profession and of the future development of transformation and execution of strategy. Eddi, to you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a real pleasure be with this community and also be back with PMI. So I also have a past history that I was working as a global executive advisor for the thought leadership as well under Brightline. And today I'm director of thought leadership. I have also over 17 years of experience working with business agility and business transformation. So I built my whole career on business agility transformation. I came back to PMI just a couple of months before, and before joining PMI, I was an executive managing director at Accenture, and I was responsible for the Latin America operation and practice of business agility and business transformation, mostly related to large-scale technology and business transformation programs. So I'm really happy to be here with this team and this group, and I'm looking forward to have a really interesting and insightful talk and conversation about these topics.
Thank you so much, Eddi and Lenka, and welcome. I know usually I present, but I don't introduce myself. So just quickly here, I'm a civil engineer by training and passionate about getting things done. So really from strategy to transformation to project. And I lead Brightline, as Lenka mentioned, about helping executive and organization bridge the gap between strategy design and delivery, really empowers them to deliver the transformation successfully. And prior to PMI, I used to work with the United Nations Office for Project Services, where I was involved in implementing peace building, humanitarian, and development projects. So whenever you're ready, Lenka, the floor is yours.
I am ready. Thank you. So we have this, what you see here, this is a headline, this is the name of one of our recent thought leadership point of view articles, where we were looking at many aspects of business transformation, which is driven by the recent increase in adoption and deployment of AI technology. And we had there this provoking question, are you in? And what led us to that question was the fact that when we were looking at all the numbers and all the trends and all the development, it's very safe to say that it's inevitable that AI will impact many businesses, many industries, the world, the way how we operate, the way how we communicate. So our advice is really to be well informed and to be part of this transformation, and use that opportunity to progress with your career, to learn and hopefully lead it. So let's move to the next slide. So before I ask you this question about how much you are feeling that pressure to transform, let me please talk about a couple of numbers here. So we were looking at different reports, and one particular that caught my attention was a report from CGA company that surveyed around 1,800 of executives, and they were asking them if they feel that pressure to transform, the need to transform. And interestingly, 60% of these executives said that digitalization and adoption of technologies have a high impact on their organizations, which is, by the way, increase over 10% points from over the past 2 years. So we see that the speed and the pressure for transformation is definitely increasing. But then when it came to questions about readiness for such transformation, only around 20% of these executives said that the level of their organizational agility is there to help them to execute this business and digital transformations. So there is not that much. And then only 30% of these executives answered that they can say that their digital strategies are delivering on their expected results. So what we see on these numbers is that we believe, the majority of executives believes, that the impact of digitalization is rather high. But then when it comes to readiness, or when it comes to ability to deliver on these expectations, then these numbers are low. So we have this big discrepancy between the need to transform, and ability to transform. So I would like to ask you at this moment, what is the level of AI enterprise adoption in your organization? And the options are, we are still discussing, or we are running some use cases, experimenting. The third option is that you already implemented AI in one or more of your processes in operations. Option number 4 is that you implemented AI in entire area of functions, so that you are already quite progressed. Or option number 5, that you don't have this information, that you don't know. We already see some results here, and this is interesting because it seems to me that you are mostly in that phase of experimentation. And sorry for the changing light in my room. It's actually sun rising up here in Seattle, and it's it's either cloudy or very bright. Okay, so you are still discussing that. So that's very interesting. And only 16% say that you already implemented it on certain scale. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. I mentioned that in that study, when CGI was asking executives about their readiness to transform, the question was about the level, the state of organizational agility. And I would like to talk about that for a couple of minutes, because organizational agility, it can be defined different ways, and that's probably maybe not even one single definition available, but my definition is that it's a combination of hyper awareness and responsibility. So what is that about? So hyper awareness, that's the capability on enterprise level to understand what's going on inside and what's going on the outside. It's essentially about being able to distill insight from the data that you have about your internal operations, but also about your employees, about your talents, and then distill insight from data that inform you about what is happening outside, whether we talk about competitive landscape or change in consumer behavior or economic development. And our current issue is that, and also thanks to digitalization, that we are all rather flooded by the information. It's like way too much data all around us. And so that capability to be able to be hyper aware is very important, because it helps on the executive level to tell you when you need to decide, when you need to act. And on the poll that we saw before, a lot of you answered that you are experimenting with some use cases or still discussing it, which is not bad. But I just wanted to say that this hyper awareness is very important, because it can help us to understand if what is going on the outside is just a hype, or if it's something serious that we really need to take into account and act upon that. Because if not, we know that, especially with disruptive technologies, they can literally put us out of business. So I said hyper-awareness, and the second component is responsibility. So that is about your internal organization, how you organize, how you structured, how you develop your talents. It's a lot about your culture. And it's that moment that when you decide, like, yes, everything what I observe is telling me that I need to act. So then, as a company, as an enterprise, then you have that ability to respond and act, reorganize yourself, reprioritize, change the course, and deliver. And why I'm talking about that, because especially when it comes to discussion about disruptive technologies, and AI is definitely one of them, it has big disruptive and transformative potential. It's always better to lead the change and not just sit and wait like, is it a hype and will it go away? So here, what you see on the screen, on the slide here, there is a quote from Mr. Alan Kay, and he says, the best way to predict the future is to invent it. And this is also what is organizational agility is all about, because it's not just about waiting and reacting, but that hyper awareness, that capability to work with the data helps us to inform where we need to go. And it's always better to lead the way than to, like behind and try to catch up. So when we talk about that responsibility as the second part of organizational agility, so I have for you this, I don't know, maybe a bit scary picture, because today we talk about transformation, and this is what transformation is all about. It's highly complex endeavor. It's not a single task, it's not a single project, it's not even a program, it's something even more complex, because in any transformation that we need to do, that is happening, we need to work with many factors. And you see some of them listed on the slide. We need to work with our people, with culture. And some of you actually put it in the chat when Tahirou asked you, what are the success factors for AI-driven transformation? So people, culture, absolutely. Ways of working, ability to experiment, ability to learn, very important. Technology, of course. Sustainability and your corporate responsibility, of course. Understanding your customer expectations, and also willing to change your business models, because that's another impact of disruptive technology that is shifting the revenue streams. So, and the point of any transformation is that, unfortunately, you cannot just pick up one of these elements and say, okay, let me improve there, and then I will take care of the rest. The trap of transformation is that you need to find a way how you can move forward with all of these elements more or less at the same time. So it's act of orchestration and balancing as you are transforming. So we will talk about that a little bit later when Tahirou gives you some advice how to approach this. And so when we move to next slide, which is my last, I believe, I wanted to close this brief introduction about transformation with this quote, which is from Professor Clayton Christensen, who is author of quite famous Innovator's Dilemma. And he's saying what is so difficult on transformation when it comes to disruptive technologies. Because again, the essence of that business or technology disruption is that it's changing our business models. It's changing consumer behavior. It's forcing us to change how we operate, how we interpret data, how we react. And on the impact on industries and business is that the revenue streams are changing. A very simple example that we all know, with the digitalization, there is a shift in revenue coming through physical interactions with your services, with your products, versus digital interactions. So that's one thing. So for the customer, it's very simple. It's like, okay, I don't mind. Either I order online or I go to the store, I still get the same product. But internally, this is a huge shift, because suddenly you need to reorganize your people, your investments in technology versus investment in physical presence. So that's just a very simple examples that I believe majority of us went through. But the thing is, and what Professor Christensen is highlighting, that what is sometimes holding us back is to have that courage to disrupt our status quo and really, really change the way how we do things and how we operate. Because what is working today, it seems fine. But unfortunately, a short-term history taught us that if we sit and wait and think, okay, it's just a hype, sometimes we are wrong and the consequences can be really big. So I will finish talking at this moment and I will hand it over to Eddi, who will walk you through a more technical side of AI-driven transformation.
Thank you, Lenka. Thanks so much. So let's deep dive on the AI spectrum of the transformation, because that's the goal and the focus of this call. And I want to kickstart with a brief explanation and overview of the key concepts here. I don't intend to give you a class or detailed presentation about the technology piece, but one thing that we need to get in mind and be real clear is that AI as a technology and as let's say overarching technology is not new. As you may know, and there is a lot of subfields under the AI and artificial intelligence. So one of them is the machine learning, which is the most popular technologies around it, which deals with a lot of how machines can learn and mimic some of the human behaviors and intelligence, in which you can use for more predictable type of tasks and repetitive type of tasks. So it allows computers essentially to learn from a high volume of data and make some predictions. It's being used for a long time already, and AI backs then to, let's say, 7 decades before. The other level here, which is really important and really interesting, is deep learning. Deep learning is essentially machine learning on steroids, because it is designed to first mimic the human brain, using some sort of neural network technology and algorithms. So with deep learning, you have different layers of applications and technologies that you can actually combine different ways of integrating data analysis and do multiple type of analysis all together. And the most recent ones that we are getting in touch with are based on large language models and generative AI. And this is where we want to focus a little bit today, because there is a lot of applications that came out there in recent months. So starting with ChatGPT last year, with those applications, what actually those applications did is to bring this sort of advanced technology and put that in the hands of people that doesn't know how to program, doesn't understand machine learning algorithm, and actually doesn't have a technical background, which is fantastic. So it's actually the low code, no code approach working for people that are using these tools with a lot of advanced technology behind them to solve problems. And one question that we need to have in mind here before we talk about other areas of this transformation is, regardless if you have a background that is a technical background or not, you need to understand and learn as much as you can the basics of each of these fields. Why? Because you then will be more prepared to understand how this technology, combined or not, within some other applications or not, will be able to solve or help you solve business problems. So it's paramount for leaders, no matter where they are, the position they are, to get to know more and more about this technology, because they will be able to understand what are the business problems that they can solve with this technology, what's feasible right now, what is something that we need to invest in the long term, and more importantly, to understand how this technology can bring value to the customers, to the society, or the community. So one advice here that we look at these myriad of topics, and again, this is just a summary, there's a much more. Get to know these techniques as much as you can, because that will prepare you to understand how far and how feasible are these technologies or applications to your daily work. Another piece of advice here, experiment. So use ChatGPT on your regular basis, on your daily basis. Try Bard, try Stable Diffusion application, Midjourney, whatever. Experiment. Don't be afraid of jumping in, setting up an account and using it, trying it, testing, because that's the only way you're going to understand how powerful is this, and also what are the risks and the challenges to use in your daily work or even in your individual tasks. That is really important. Now, having said that, I want to move towards the more how we do, what we do with all of this, right? And I want to break down this second part of my call here into four parts. The first one is really clear, and there's a lot of numbers around the potential of AI for business, for individuals, like productivity. We are talking about between $2 and $4 trillion in terms of the delivered value. So McKinsey there has a report on that. There's also a PwC report talking about the potential economic impact that says more than 45% of these economic impact gains by 2030 will be by product enhancements due to generative AI or AI. So there's a lot of numbers out there. And, if I put myself in a position of executive, this kind of generates some tension and some urgency about, okay, what we're doing about it. Because if there's so much potential, I don't want to be the one losing that opportunity or losing that window. Be careful about that, because these are predictions. Of course, there are a lot of interesting use cases coming out, but the question you need to understand is, okay, for my business or for my organization, what is the potential? How can I solve real problems for my customers or for my partners, or work with my partners and my suppliers? These are the questions that you need to really understand and to build a successful transformation, AI-driven transformation program. The second topic here is the resilience. And I don't want to spend a lot of time here, because Lenka already told about the business agility. It's also my passion from my heart. And resiliency and agility here, the capability of an organization to anticipate, to adapt and accelerate their process and their transformation, is paramount for any organization today to leverage and develop some sort of a competitive advantage against their peers using or leveraging this technology. And not only this technology, we've seen recently the same happening with cloud computing technology. There was a hush of organizations moving from on-premises and legacy type of architectures, moving to the cloud and trying to explore all the potential of cloud. The same is happening right now with AI, especially with generative AI. Okay. Now, I want to spend a little bit more time on the transformation and optimization, which is a dilemma, and also a build or buy decision. These are the two areas that most leaders today are debating about, and we want to offer some guidance, some idea. So as part of our work in our thought leadership, we created this framework, which is a 2x2 matrix, and to guide or to help guide executives to define where they should start and what are the goals they're looking for from this transformation. So if you get the upper left quadrant here, you're talking about a more strategic adoption in which we're going to improve some process operations. You can think about your customer journey segmentation, how we actually use AI to lead or to drive or to actually automate that. You're talking also about cybersecurity analytic platforms. Some examples, there is a lot of examples and use cases on the customer service platforms, which customers can interact with AI-driven platforms, and you don't have any human touching it or supplying information for that. If you look at the other, the left quadrant here on the bottom, more on the operational incremental, there is a lot of opportunities that organizations can do today with the current applications to, for example, summarize documents, autocomplete operations, using as a recommendation or research engines. But the real value, actually, if you think on the mid and long term, are both in the other two quadrants here. Thinking about how we're going to review the business model of your organization and how can we actually build a new business model or new revenue streams. That's something that you will help you understand how AI can be a key pillar in this new model or in these new products or innovations that you're developing. Also, if you think on a more transformational perspective, you're talking about revising or redesigning your products and services platform. So going back to the PwC research that talks about most of the value will come from product enhancements. Today, as we speak, a lot of organizations are embedding or have done that before already, AI technology to improve their experience with their products or to make their products more appealing to their customers or more tailored or customized. So there are many ways for you to understand how we start this transformation, what's the goal of this transformation. And the key question here is, what are the low-hanging fruits? So I want to go back to the data that we have. Like, we're talking about 1/3 of the audience here in this presentation is discussing ideas. So this is a good time to take a framework like this and say, okay, where we are, where we're going to go. There are 1/3 at least experimenting. And this is really good because with this experimentation, you actually can see, okay, is this feasible? Is this something that will bring some value to the organization? And try and understand those. And you need to actually understand how or to what degree is your organization will be all-in or an AI totally driven business, or you're going to leverage AI to actually improve your business. These are questions that my colleague here, Tahirou, will deep dive on how we start building this North Star vision for your AI-driven transformation. And I just want to left you with this big picture. And I want to pause here to get you another poll in which I want to understand from your perception here, how do you see the impact or the greatest areas in your organization or in your work that AI will make an impact? And I want to get some perception about your perspectives on AI. So, and the question is really simple. Where do you see the most impact of AI in your organization? So we have 4 options here, like improving features or parts or process of a product, improve one or more processes or entire process so you can revisit that process and redesign that process. We can redesign a product from scratch or develop a new product. And towards the design of an entire business or operating model. So I want to get your perspective on these four, because without a clear vision on where what are the potential gaps you have in your organization, what are the problems that you can actually use AI, that's really hard actually to start this transformation. Because going back what Lenka said, we're talking about culture, we're going to talk about a new operating model, probably we need to change some pieces of our strategy. So I can see some numbers coming in already. So we're talking about probably the most impactful area here will be improve one or more entire process of my organization. We're talking about 40% of the respondents. Coming second, we have features, part of process and products already. And again, for this piece, there are a lot of organizations doing that already, not with generative AI, but with machine learning. So in the financial industry, there's a lot of use case and examples already. In marketing, there's a lot of use case already. In customer satisfaction and customer interaction. So there are some industry that are ahead of the time in terms of adopting these tools. Now, I want to close my part here, talk about another dilemma, which is the build or buy decision. And here it's really important because since there is a lot of applications coming out, and there is also your potential to build your own machine learning or AI, generative AI platform, you need to take into account some elements. The first one is data and your architecture. So you need to understand how much you are prepared or what's your data strategy, your architecture, and your applications. So you can embed a tool or application based on AI that will leverage the potential of your technology stack. So we need to really understand where we are in this technology usage, so to adopt an AI. It's also important to understand how can you get fast feedback or fast insights. So one good way to partner with existing applications is you need actually to experiment and use this to test if they make sense, and then you can actually develop or build your own application based on your own data set or your own data strategy. So now, just to speed up a little bit the presentation, I will pass the mic to my friend Tahirou to talk about how we would do that. Tahirou, please.
Thank you so much, Eddi, for this insightful presentation. So let us move to the next slide and let us talk about, as we were in 2019 and we were looking at data, really there were things that were quite concerning. First, transformation risk is what is top of mind for CEOs. And that was in 2019. And then if we fast forward, we went through COVID, and now we are with the just beginning of another wave, AI, generative AI. So if there's a level on top of number one, actually transformation will be there. Yet I shared it often, 70% of large transformations are failing. This is leading to about 900 billion wasted every year in digital transformation effort. And sadly, 85% of people are disengaged at work. I share this statistic just to say they look like numbers, but they are affecting us everywhere, and we need to do something about it. And in the pursuit of doing something about it, PMI, through its Brightline initiative, created the Brightline Transformation Compass. And we built it to be not something theoretical, but really something that is built in real cases, in reality, in actuality. And we worked with a professor out of Stanford to develop it. Now, the compass itself is built around 5 key and self-reinforcing blocks. One is about the North Star, and I'll talk about it. Then customer insight and mega trend. Also having volunteer champions, transformation operating system, and last but not least, inside-out employee transformation. What I'll do today is not to go through the definition and the description of the different blocks. We've done it before. What I'll try to cover today is through the lens of AI, looking already what some organizations are doing, tailoring or using the concept that we have described in the transformation compass. Let's start with the first one, North Star. For me, North Star is the key. I mean, you need to have your entire leadership team aligned regarding where we are heading. And that need to be clear, crystal clear across the organization. Where are we heading? What are our goals? And here I want to share with you the example of John Deere, which really has a purpose, and the purpose is about feeding the world. But as they define that purpose, they went one step deeper through the strategy and say, our goal is about being the best in the world at providing data-enabled equipment solutions to agricultural customers. Very sharp, very clear. Data-enabled equipment solution and who? Agricultural customer. So as they were looking at the AI and the option there, they were able then to launch the first fully automated tractor. And that was based on high quality AI and machine learning training data for agriculture. And as they move today, they are leading the use of digital technology in its equipment, including, let's say, telematics, self-driving controls, remote monitoring, and so on. So really, if you are embarking on this transformation, where are you heading? Do you get alignment across the organization? This is key. I'll talk about the second one if we move to the transformation operating system. And this is where we're calling for organization to be nimble. We're calling for flat structures. We're calling for agility, because you don't have time to really go through bureaucracy. Speed really is a premium in this, because you need to learn. Sometimes you will fail, but learn from the failure and being able to move. And here, I want to share what MasterCard has done, using some of the concepts, of course, that we are talking about in the transformation operating system. First, they actually focus the core of the foundation on building a strong governance, and then adapting their operation model as new opportunities were arising or as new regulations were coming into place. They did one thing further, because as you have this technology, maybe the board may not know, maybe the executive members may not know. So what they did is about also making sure that the senior leaders, the board members, are really aware of what are the most recent generative AI tools. They also are building and holding sessions for the executive, so that they can actually appreciate the technology, the opportunities, the regulations, as well as the implementation, so that they are in a position to adopt it. But also, as part of that governance, put in place an AI council of leaders. So they were bringing leaders from all areas to evaluate AI use cases before the deployment. So you need to have that built-in support in. And last but not least, really, these changes are not just siloed. You want to have across the organization people involved. And what they did then at MasterCard was about establishing an interdisciplinary and cross-functional functional team that were coming actually from different areas of the business, from system and data engineers to architects to human resources professionals and lawyers. And the goal then was to manage the implementation of generative AI across the company. So really, having a transformation operating system that is fit for purpose, that is helping you drive that transformation, is key. We'll end with the third. I listed 5, but I'm talking about 3 today. Let's go to the last one that I'll talk about, because for me, this one is also fundamental: inside-out employee transformation. As we talk about transformation, we need to understand what is it in need for the employees. You know, that is key. So sometimes the AI, machine learning, we list all the technologies and we feel like it is that will suffice. No. At the end, people need to adopt the technology. And we need to earn the heart and mind of people within our organization to make sure that it happens. And when we think about people with these massive changes, there are 2 things sometimes that happen. One, there is a fear for people of becoming incompetent. Because, I mean, I need to do something, all of a sudden, I don't know how to do it. So that fear is there. The second one is the fear of losing, meaning, is my job at risk? Do I lose power? And so on. So all these are elements that organizations need to understand, that as the new technology is coming in, as AI, generative AI is coming in, we need to address this concern for the employees. And Salesforce has done a great job in that context through the reviews that we've kind of done. They were able to use the internal learning platform, which is called Trailhead, and they were supporting employees getting new skills so that they can move to other roles as needed due to the AI transformation that is happening. But also some actually within the organizations were able to learn how to code, and they were able then as a result to move from more traditional areas like sales and recruitment to engineering. Last but not least, Salesforce was helping them also find and help them connect their own personal transformation with that of a larger, broader context of the organization. Let me end here by saying, in any transformation, in any organization, if you take care of your people, they'll take care of your business, and they'll help you deliver on your societal and your financial objectives. So let me bring back Eddi. Eddi will take us through this last slide about how do you initiate then a transformation. Eddi?
Thank you. And I want to be brief here because I want to have some time for the questions and interact with the audience. Thank you, Tahirou. And honestly, here it's a very simple. We need to start, right? We need to experiment. We can't wait, to Lenka's point as well, because if you wait too much, if you think too much, time goes by, and there will be a new technology, there will be a new trend, there will be a new thing around the corner. So first of all, most of you are dedicating time to really understand the AI landscape. I think that's really important, but we need to get to action. So we need to understand what are the questions, is transformation, because transformation is not only about technology. And again, there's a build or buy decision here. Be aware that as you adopt this technology massively in your organization, culture change, operating model change, even how you define your strategy will change. You need to have a clear agenda and a vision of where you want to go. So we provide some examples here about how you connect your big purpose with the strategic guidance that you need to have around AI transformation. Otherwise, what's going to happen, most organizations, they will spend a lot of time on AI and they will not transform themselves, which is like, might be useful from a productivity or cost-cutting perspective, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be a new business. It's not going to offer a new experience. It's going to be something as you're doing today, but with AI technology. And that's what not most organizations, they don't want. Lead by example. If you are a leader and you want to transform your organization, be the sponsor and walk the talk. These are the key things that if you are not able to do, you need to be the example, because we are setting the foot on something that is really uncertain and really dynamic. So if you as a leader cannot be confident and don't show the example to people, probably you're going to have some challenge around how they adopt this technology or thinking new ways of working. With all that, I want to really bring back Lenka here and Tahirou for us to take a pause here and really thank you for the audience. We probably have a lot of people, and we broke the record. Tahirou, let me know. But this is a very exciting topic, and I want to now jump on the questions.
The first question here is coming from Margaret Gunions, and her question was, where does PMO, epmo, strategic office stand in the AI and transformations? I don't know if any of Lenka, Eddi, or myself. Lenka, you want to go? Go ahead, Lenka.
Yeah, I can definitely answer that question, because this question is very interesting and is also addressing the questions that we ask ourselves at Project Management Institute, because we as organization, we are also not immune to impact of AI transformation and digital disruption. I would say we are all in the same boat. And when it comes to PMO or epmo, or maybe the role of Chief Transformation Officer, this is a question that every organization needs to ask themselves: what is the best fitting model for their case? At PMI, we are advocating for giving more strategic importance and attention to PMOs, because especially when it comes to transformation, it is not a project, it is not a program, it's really orchestration of effort that goes across many departments, many teams, and involves customers and technology and people and processes and all of that. So you need to have, for instance, all of your project managers or scrum masters, all the people who are supporting partial changes that are part of this transformation, you need to have them fully on board. They really need to understand the why of the transformation, because these are the people who will be dealing with your other colleagues, sometimes even customers, and they will need to explain them on much more detailed level than is the overall strategic direction. Why is it so important to dedicate your time for that, dedicate your resources, and participate? So one way of engagement is to really elevate your PMOs on that strategic level, give them access to information, onboard them, be sure that they can explain the why, because these people in the field, they will help to make more specific, concrete decisions as you go, while your executive team will be always more engaged in that North Star setting, vision setting, and like the more high level direction. So for any successful information, you always need to balance and ensure that you have cohesive communication and understanding of the transformation on the top level and on the bottom level. And this is where PMO can help. The other role of PMO or EPMO, and this is again, this depending how any organization sets that up, is who is leading that transformation, who is that orchestrator. It can be your EPMO, or maybe you can go for that specialized role of transformation officer. Both of these options have benefits and some challenges that you need to face.
Thank you so much, Lenka. And just to add, of course, the PMO helps also with getting one source of the truth, because there are so many things, but one source of the truth, and the prioritization, and value creation as well. So understanding how the different pieces are coming together. Thank you. Let's move to the next question. The next question is coming from Christine Konapka, and it is in two parts. First part is, my understanding as a non-technical person is that a very firm understanding of your customers, data, business architecture, and key processes will be table stakes for moving into an effective AI transformation. Do I have this right? And then the follow-up question is, if the organization doesn't have these things, they will have a hard time adopting AI effectively and ethically. So mainly, do you want to jump in on that one, talking about the capabilities?
Yeah. So let me cover the question in two parts as well. So the first one is the more in the technical knowledge. I mean, for every project manager or every executive that is working or leading an AI-driven transformation, he or she will need to know and get some knowledge about the technology. And again, my point is, you can't collaborate or you can contribute or set the vision if you don't understand what the technology is about. So it's paramount for you to at least understand the basics. What are the potentials? What are the gaps? What are the what is the feasibility of the technology in your industry? So a good start will be, okay, in my industry, what are the benchmarks? What people are doing, how they are applying this technology. I don't think you need to be to do like to take another grad to go to university and take another graduation, but you need to understand as much as possible the technical aspects of the technology. Now, you will need to build a multidisciplinary team. So when I say a multidisciplinary team, you need people that understand data, people that understand customer experiences, people that understand architecture, people that understand the more profound subfields of AI, like deep learning, etc. Depending on how far or how much you wanna use AI to your business. So I know organizations that are building entire teams on AI. So the data scientists, AI technical persons, to actually fulfill their needs in terms of development, internal development. So that's one thing. For executives, for managers, I think a good start is, okay, do I understand how the technology works? What is needed for this technology work? So get some knowledge about data strategy, data structures. Architecture is really important. Cloud computing is another thing that I would mention, because most of these applications, they run on cloud. So it's also important to you understand how to scale, how cloud works. And apart from that, the job, it probably should be your focus, is how you connect the dots, how you connect those potentials, technical potentials, with business purpose or business problem. And then the second part of your question is, I think in order to be successful in that transformation, you really need to build this team that will be a multidisciplinary team. And we have the case from MasterCard here. It's from top to the bottom and from the bottom to the top. Everyone needs to get some basic learning about the tool and what are the potential specifically to your industry. So hopefully I answered the question. Let me know, Lenka, if you want to add something, or Tahirou. But I think to sum in one sentence, the more you know, the better about the technology. Not only this technology, of course.
And there are more questions actually, Eddi, in the line, but I'm afraid maybe with 5 minutes to go, we might not be able to answer all of them live. So we'll take the questions. We will kind of provide written answers. Some questions were more around the capacity for the leader. Some questions were about really if there is any tools that will have to help people evaluate some of the risk. There were some questions around what government are doing and so on. So we'll take the time to answer all these questions. And then everyone who attended this webinar, there will be a follow-up email with a recording and then the answer to all the questions that you listed here. Okay, so thank you all. Let us maybe move to some closing remark. Of course, giving the floor to Lenka, Eddi. Is there anything you want people to take away after this presentation?
Yeah.
And maybe some of the questions that you're seeing.
I might have one point, which I myself consider quite interesting. So we talked here about the need for organizational agility, and we talked about companies, enterprises, corporations. And now in the chat, in Q&A session, there are questions about approach of government that should help us to establish policies around transformation or around AI. And I was just yesterday reading, as Eddi said, we all need to learn. We also keep learning, so we read all the reports and all the information. What is very interesting is that even governments or institutions like European Union are now rushing and understanding that they also need to apply agile approaches when it comes to setting policies, especially for AI, because the pace of the development of technologies is so fast that the pace of development of these frameworks, especially around ethics, data protection, etc., also need to adjust to that speed of technological development. So this is also a huge learning for all of us, and really that recognition and acknowledgement of how fast things are moving, and that it really requires the change of our mindset in the whole ecosystem, in the whole business ecosystem, not only inside one company, but around the whole ecosystem. And this is exactly where we see our role as Project Management Institute. We want to help you with that. And what we do is either, trying to distill that insight for you and present it for you. There was also some question about if we're going to learn about practical examples of AI projects. So this is maybe a question to Eddi, what is in our roadmap and what is our interaction with our community, where we try to engage our community in creating and sharing the practical experience. And we also continue working on learning sources for you and providing you with access to tools and some samples of scenarios so that you can test and experiment with them as well.
Yeah, fantastic. I just want to close saying, first of all, thank you for this time. The topic is really exciting. PMI is doing has a lot of initiatives, as Lenka said. Under thought leadership, we're building new content on a daily basis. So stay tuned within our resource hub so you can get the most recent reports. There are some topics that we are working already, so I can even talk about some of the prompt engineering topics. It's in the pipeline, and we're gonna publish something really comprehensive in the coming weeks. So all I can say is let's stay together, let's learn together, and let's try together. That's the most important. Let's try, let's experiment. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Eddi and Lenka. And of course, for me, I mean, if there is one word or maybe one word in three, people. So I want to leave you technology, yes, people side, really important. I'll just say that we have a new book that is available called the Digital Transformation Playbook. It is really a compendium of 41 leading thinkers and practitioners drawn from around the world. and you can glean actions, insight, perspective to successfully drive transformation in your organizations. There are some key takeaways. There are also some reflective questions that you can kind of use as exercise after each session. So there'll be more to come. Stay tuned, and thank you, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.